Why is this not? Oh. I think there's actually more people on stage than there are in the audience.
Rendezvous here.
I think it's going to be a good one. This is going to be interesting. We're going to have a. You know, it's yeah, trying it's the thing. You know, let me get everybody some samples because it just he explains it very well, but also it's just like it works, you know.
I truly don't know completely what it does, but I've been using it through most of my plants right now, and for the I'm near very close to harvest in the next week and a half, and my plants look great at least, so and they smell good and look healthy, so I think it's not a bad addition at least.
Are you using it with nectars?
Yeah, with the nectar line.
Are you just doing a slow drench and foliar feeding with it?
I haven't been doing the foliar feeding, and what was the first one?
Slow drench. You're using your green room.
Yeah, I don't use everything on the nectar of the gods list, but most of them. Oh, this is not more than these. And also, I have been using the and select as well. Looks good.
Yeah, it's up here.
I guess I can set my thing here.
So far, they're not so.
We need one more chair.
Do we have any tall chairs? Amy?
There's those two.
That's it?
Those are the two.
I'll stand up.
You sure?
Yeah.
I say I need to do more experimentation or is what it might
Right advances.
Right, advances left and we'll go back.
Okay.
Everybody's going to win something today.
I was gonna start on grass and then come down and
Okay.
like monitor questions.
Oh, awesome. That'd be great. Hey, Carl. Hey, Wayne. I think, what's a horchata?
Rice water.
All right.
Love it. Yep.
They bursted into flower, but I'm still doing the Fullon when it starts to go.
We're ready to get started.
I have 4 other plants.
Well, we gotta get Jake in here.
Hey, how's it going, Blaze?
How are you?
Good. Gonna come up and introduce yourself? No. Everyone, this is Blaze. He's our newest Oregon's constant gardener.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Nice to meet you, Blaze.
Buddy, and the crew. Hey, Greg. How did you sneak in? We getting ready to go? What are we doing? What's going on? Is that your chair? No, that's your chair. Oh, by the way, who wears a large shirt? Any of you? No large? No large? No, nobody gets the free shirt then. You're a large. Fuck you, Tim.
Sure, okay.
All right. You guys coming in, or? All right. Now we gotta wait for Nick before we can get started.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. And Jordan.
Okay.
And Carl.
Unfortunately, I'm only going to be here for a little while. I got to take my little one to my pilgrimage.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fine. We'll just do it another time then.
I'm down with that.
Hey there, Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener.
Hi, Bob.
I think we're gonna change it to the Friday show instead of Green Room Live because of Bunny.
What?
It's the
No.
Friday show.
Friday show. Okay, it's Friday.
Rob Christiansen, Fullon,
Hello.
this stuff. Jake, lunatic, but also a good gardener. Just fat shit crazy. He's a good guy.
place for that. That's the good kind of crazy.
Yeah. So you're going to tell us about this. You're going to tell us about gardening with it. We're going to talk about it. But first, Bunny Crass is coming up.
Okay.
She's coming up to tell us about what's going on in our community.
Oh, I think I know what it
Okay,
is.
yes.
What is it?
Some of you may have heard of this. So my name is Bunny Crass. I'm with a group called Women Leaders in Cannabis. We are a nonprofit organization with a focus on business networking and philanthropy. We are having our next general meeting this Wednesday at the Davis Bar and Restaurant, August 23rd at 6:30 p.m. We're going to have a legal panel, 3 lawyers to talk about a few valuable topics for people with cannabis businesses or interested in starting a cannabis business. One lawyer will speak on negotiating and devising leasing for cannabis businesses. Another will speak on some copyright laws and intellectual properties, and the third topic will be on the importance of employee handbooks and policies. So some really great information there, and the second half of our meeting will be networking. You get to walk around, meet everyone. It's going to be a great time. You're going to make lots of friends, and there will be happy hour specials the entire time. So come on out to the Davis Bar Wednesday, August 23rd, 6:30 p.m. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, and excited to see y'all out there. Thanks. Yeah.
There you go. You missed a lot.
You're going to have your participation.
Oh, yay! Got a hat.
Rob,
Yes.
full on.
Yes.
It's confusing. I don't know what it is. You told me what it is, and I still don't know.
I guess I didn't do a very good job of telling you.
No, you did. You did a great job. You did a great job. The problem was that I'm dumb. But nano, Ionic, what's that thing? What is it?
I'm surprised Carl didn't jump in there. But
Carl's here? Carl, come here. Come here, Carl.
Carl's a silent guy.
No, you're gonna be up here at some point. We'll talk about
hey, Bob, is
something.
your camera working? It's making funny.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think it is. I forgot to do it.
Emojis floating across the
All right. Well, it's probably best that all this wasn't on there anyway. I pushed the little button. Oh, you know what's going? It's all right. We'll just do the live stream. It doesn't have a little thing in it. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. All right.
Oh,
Hey, we're back. So, what is it?
Fullon is essentially it's a biostimulant, and unfortunately, there's a lot of different things that are biostimulants, but there's really not one particular category for it. So it's basically a biostimulant that's using nano-ionic technology is part of the mechanism to get it to work, along with providing about every micronutrient and vital on the planet is in there in nano and ionic form.
What is nanoform?
Nanoform is very, very small particle size that allows the product to transport the nutrients more efficiently right up into the plant cells, basically.
So how does that work? Does it actually physically gets transferred up there? What transmits it up there?
It's a number of things. Number one, it's that the plant naturally is pulling from the roots and pulling in from the leaves. To the degree those particles are smaller, it has a much easier time transporting those throughout the plant. It doesn't have to break it down as much. Along with that, it's got a highly negative ionic charge to it, which does a lot of different things in terms of detoxing the plant, actually providing increased cation exchange capacity in the soil, which helps that nutrient exchange and nutrient uptake within the plant.
So what's an ionic charge?
Basically electronic. There's ions in everything. It's all of us.
Energy?
Energy.
Okay.
All of us are basically running on electricity to
Okay.
a degree. Our thoughts are electronic.
Uh-huh.
Everything starts with some sort of electronic pulse or electronic charge.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times you open the bottle, you'll get a shock when you open the cap because there's definitely that charge in there. In the case of when you put negative ionic charge in the soil, what the Fullon will do is help pull the positive ions stands out, which tend to be the heavy metals and the contaminants within that plant. So essentially, those nano, that negative charge is helping to detox the
Where
plant.
does that stuff go?
Goes back into the soil, basically, and it's just discharged from the plant tissue. So it's allowing the plant to kind of clean itself out, if you will, with every use, and you're increasing the soil health. We're actually feeding the microbes. Hey guys, it's Matt and Fullon.
Start the whole thing over again to somebody.
Yeah, we're gonna
Your time. So, okay, so you got this very small particle, electric charge that helps it to get up in there. Well, what are these little particles? What are they?
It's a combination of like 76 different minerals, along with a lot of little different elements. They're billions of years old. They're all chelated. They're organic, and they carry that charge. And essentially, it's in a formulation that's got a lot of different stuff going on that just enables these the nanoparticles to work with other components that we have here in a very synergistic manner. It's like I say, it's a recipe as opposed to a fulvic or a humic additive.
So it's a multivitamin to some, but it's like it's not like a synthetic type thing like that. It's like having a balanced diet. Is that what you're saying?
To a degree, it's one product that you can use all the way from germination right through flush. Basically, and Jake will talk more about it, but it doesn't matter if it's a tomato plant, hemp, cannabis, whatever. It's something that you can literally use from the start of that plant's life cycle right till its harvest time.
So root drench and then foliar?
Root drench, yeah, and what we recommend is a root drench once at a minimum to twice a week, depending on how people are feeding. Large commercial guys that have reservoirs are going to run about 2 ml per gallon in the res for a daily feeding regimen. But yeah, if what we tell people, if you really jump into the regimen, where you're using it once to twice a week in the soil and once a week as a foliar, you're definitely going to see a difference in the basically production speed of those plants and how they finish. We're consistently told about shorter cycle times from 1 to 2 weeks, coast to coast, every environment imaginable, both synthetic, organic nutrients, and the best part with that, you're actually getting a stronger finish with more weight, better terp profiles, the whole 9 yards. So you're actually getting better quality product at the end of a shorter growth cycle, which is kind of counterintuitive in most cases.
So if, just as a side point, if you're doing a cannabis, there's some, you foliar all the way to the end? Or
Obviously you've got to watch out for mold and things like that. I would say probably 2 to 3 weeks into flower is a good average. I've heard people go to 6, but it depends on humidity, airflow, environment, all that stuff. But generally 2 to 3 weeks into.
Any kind of wetting agent to use with it? No.
You can use it. You can use it straight. We say anywhere from 4 to 10 ml a gallon. You can put it on in that rate. And also, we've had good feedback with it being mixed with Photo O and Bloom KS as well. So there's a number of different options. But yeah, definitely once a week on a foliar.
We mix it with the multiple varieties of foliar feeds, for sure.
It works really well.
We add it basically to any recipe.
Awesome.
It's that beneficial.
Thank you.
Well, how earlier can you start using it? We've got a question from Jackie here wanting to know if you can germinate seeds with it.
Oh yeah, totally. Totally. We've had a lot of people with 1 to 2 ml a gallon of just full on getting great results with germinating seeds. And then go ahead at 2 ml a gallon with a root feed for the little ones, and then foliar too immediately with that. So right from the beginning. And I always tell a story about a fellow and a young man over in the Philippines that's growing cacao organically, chocolate. The cacao seed inherently has a fungus in it that all the farmers basically treat it with a fungicide to kill the fungus to allow the seed to grow. Fullon, when the seed's germed in 2 ml of Fullon, you don't need the fungicide. It gives that seedling enough vitality, enough vigor to overcome the fungus and continue to grow at great, great productivity rates.
You're talking about a seed that normally they start with a fungicide.
Yeah.
Just before it even.
They basically inoculate it with a fungicide, because if not, unless the seedling doesn't have enough resistance to be able to overcome the fungus, they just die. So the Fullon gives it organically enough nutrients, enough energy to be able to bounce back, defeat it, and just keep growing.
So how did you find this? How did you figure it out?
It was, excuse me, kind of a long story. I'd worked for Big Ag years ago.
Time?
And, but as I said, I worked for Big Ag, and I saw some chemical technologies that enhance nutrient uptake, and it was something that stuck in my head for a while.
What were you doing? What was your job?
I was actually doing business development for them and working a lot with the water-soluble packaging, which kind of led me into this in a roundabout way. Well, as I said, it was Big Ag. Is really where working there, I turned into kind of an organic freak. Once you actually see the stuff that's going on in food. The water-soluble packaging, which is on all the dishwasher things and the laundry, all that's packaging, that started out in Big Ag to reduce the exposure to the stuff that's going on in our food. Because it's that toxic, you can't have any exposure to it, the farmers or whatever, so they seal it in a water-soluble plastic, and then they dump that in the mix tanks.
Holy moly! So it was so bad that they couldn't.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Can't handle it.
can't handle it, and that stuff is going on our food every single day. So nevertheless, I was obviously really kind of appalled once it sunk in what was going on. But along with that, as I said, I did see field trials with a chemical that increased. It was kind of an MSG related deal, but it increased the nutrient uptake. And in my mind, it was ingenious. If you can increase your nutrient uptake and efficiency, if you're growing organically, you're going to get more production faster. If you're growing synthetically, you're going to drop half of these damn nitrates out of the water table, at least, right?
It's getting into the plant. It's not getting staying in the water that's going to get dumped.
Yeah, exactly. So, nevertheless, I had over the years worked with formulators here around the country and in Canada with water-soluble projects. So a lot of them were working on different ag formulations, and I just began to screw around and have these guys put together different formulations for me. And I came up with one, and long story short, I ran into my partner who was in San Diego, and he's a longtime farmer, and he had this, the mineral matrix that we use in here. And I was extremely impressed with what I saw with that product, and we figured out a way to get what he had into the formulation that I was working on. And once that happened, weird stuff started to happen.
So your thing was more of a delivery type system for it.
More of a delivery. I was working on nutrient uptake efficiency.
So not so much delivery as making the plant be able to be better at
exactly.
eating.
Similar to what I saw the chemical stuff doing, but doing it in an organic manner where you could actually get more productivity using less inputs. And basically, once that mineral got into this formulation, that's when that actually started to happen.
Okay, so you had a way to do more uptake, but he had some sort of a more natural type, that was the missing link. You weren't putting salt into it, but then you were putting actual.
It was also increasing the nutrient uptake, but along with that, it's adding all these different little elements and vitals and all this very organic chelated mineral matrix that's highly energetic. It added that into the formulation, and then, like I say, we just started to see unexpected results. So to that degree, it's truly a unique product. I mean, it's not something that we buy that you could go out there and find under a different name. It's something that was basically a fluke, just taking kind of a hunch and throwing stuff together, and after about 8 different formulations, like I say, we came up with this, and within a couple days of using it, I started to see results in my garden. And I was like, I'm done. I've not seen this in years. Succulents, just off the hook. lavender going crazy within a couple of hours. It was just a lot of immediate reactions that were unexpected. And that's when you kind of sit back and go, I think there's something going on.
So did you see this all, when you were making these formulations way back, where were you thinking you were going to go with?
No clue.
Yeah,
it was basically a curiosity if in fact you could take an organic product that's actually good for the soil, good for the plants, good for people, and have that turn into some sort of an effective product in the marketplace. Are people interested in this or not? And you know, a lot of the synthetic or big ag guys aren't. They just use what they use every year. They want to buy more. The sellers want to sell more. So there's a good part of the market that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could care less. That being said, we're also fortunate enough to be working with a lot of nectar growers around the country that aren't so much reducing the nutrients, but getting increased results from the nutrients by putting it in their system. Increased results, again, shorter cycle times, and generally a better finish. More weight, better turds, that sort of deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, Jake, you're here. You can add to the conversation something, can't you? You must have something to say. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. You go over to me.
Can I say something?
Tell us about your garden. Tell us you say whatever you want to say. I'll just shut up.
Appreciate it. So I want to say about the fungus. Saskatoon berries, service berries, I discovered what they were a couple of years ago. I like to plant berries I've never heard of before. And they are native to North America, and I think a lot of Canada. And they have a rust that only attacks them, not any other plant. And I don't think you can find them without a rust. So I sprayed the rust, and it burned off. It's kind of gone. I sprayed it with Fullon, and it took a little bit. It changed color. The plant doesn't have rust on it anymore. I didn't know that was possible, and so far I haven't found any documentation that anybody else has done this. So I don't know how many funguses it'll work on, but that's two.
Very cool. Very cool.
I think probably on a lot of funguses.
We were talking about this a little bit earlier. The part of what Fullon does is increases the sugar production or the bricks production in the plant. Is that starts to happen, the plant's natural defenses start to increase. It's more readily available to be able to defend against pests, be it fungus, be it bugs, whatever. It thickens the leaf tissue. The leaf tissue doesn't taste nearly as good with that higher bricks and the more defense mechanisms the plant can naturally produce. So we've had people that have gone absolutely pesticide and fungicide free in certain circumstances by really concentrating on the health of the plant and using Fullon in a regular regimen along with the other nutrients.
I'm actually working on hemp streak virus, which has spread into my yard, which is something that hopefully nobody ever gets besides me. But I've been working with Fullon to see what I can do with the plant and that to see if I can hold it off. And so far, it's actually seeming like it's really buffing the plant up, making it really strong, and not being affected by the virus except on one leaf. And I do need to see how that finishes.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
Do you think long term, as we learn more and do more, that pesticides will become less of a thing and maybe more focusing on the plant health?
Yeah, I totally think that IPM and plant health long-term is the only way to go. I think that we're seeing a lot of crackdown already in California on pesticides. There's a lot of testing going on, and what we're seeing out there in the marketplace is pretty bad. I mean, they're coming up with like 90% pesticide residue on the flowers that they're pulling in. So, you know, hopefully it's going to continue, you know, the organic IPM is going to continue, probably in large part due to the fact that the states, with the liability is cannabis is becoming legal. At some point they have to step in and say we can't allow everybody to run around smoking mycobutanol, you know what I mean, or whatever the crap these guys are creating.
So they're using food pesticides, and we're lighting this thing up, and that's probably
Yeah,
a huge issue that we don't know anything about.
And there's also the argument that the standards are way too low for cannabis because they're basically using food standards, but there's no way you're going to consume as much cannabis as you are apples or whatever.
Sure.
So, but nevertheless, I do think that the organic growing, especially with IPM, where they're integrated pest management, whatever you can do to increase the health and the resistance of those plants organically is going to really economically be the only stuff that flies very shortly. The more that these labs get tests and the more that comes out in the media, the more pressure states are going to be under to absolutely do the best they can to ensure their consumers aren't, smoking garbage. So, or ingesting it.
There's things allowed that are not allowed on cannabis, but they are allowed on oranges in stores. So you could walk through a supermarket and be touching all these different things that are in the store, get it on you. Yeah. You can't smoke it, you can't ingest it in other fashions on cannabis. I think hopefully some of the rules will move into that other market, and we will learn better ways of big ag, how to manage.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like we are at a breaking point with pesticides. We've been using these horrible toxins to get rid of the bugs. The bugs are becoming resistant to it. Now you're spraying more toxins, the bugs are getting more resistant to it.
And unfortunately, that really fits in to their sales model. It's not really, in my mind, how you're supposed to sell products. We like to think we sell a product that adds value to consumers, adds value to the farmer, adds value to the whole process. Unfortunately, a lot of the chemical guys sell products that become ineffective, that don't offer value, that cause everybody to go out and buy more of this crap, to keep using more and more and more. And what that amounts to some of the world's biggest corporations are billions and billions of dollars coming in. So by selling an ineffective, very short range, poorly planned, poorly done product line. So, I mean, we're all being slowly, if you're eating conventional fruits and vegetables, the stuff that's in it is just absolutely, you wouldn't believe it. I worked in that business, and I could literally get headaches, backaches, skin rashes, being a few hundred yards away from these buildings where they were formulating these things. So, it's a very real deal, and I think especially in our community, the cannabis and hemp community, that I think it really pays to take it seriously. We've got a community here, we're not big ag yet, and that a lot of the craft growers and organic growers who are doing it right, I think are going to be rewarded long run.
A lot of us grow our own food.
Yeah.
All these things we've learned how to mix and match and put it through everything that we're doing. So our gardens, our vegetable and fruit gardens have gotten way better.
Nice.
Mine have.
Nice.
I've learned from how to grow cannabis, and I put that into my garden. It's been growing things for a long time. Tons of people have, but I learned a lot more.
What did you take from learning to grow cannabis that you brought into growing food?
I actually grow a lot of things in pots. Because I really like how things can get root bound, and I know that's something, but really you can grow a really big plant in a somewhat smaller pot than you thought about. As long as you get the right water and keep getting the nutrients, it'll eat up all the nutrients much more quickly without having taproots and go really far down and access all kinds of stuff. But you can just feed those. How to maintain bugs, pests, how to boost your plant. How to go at it with even more and really get the flavor profiles to pop. I've been growing nectar since I think when nectar started, maybe since right before that, and then recently found out about Fullon and added. So I've had great vegetables for a long time, and now what I'm seeing from putting Fullon on, I have cantaloupe now that are up on this tunnel, and they're growing really well. The tallest cantaloupe, the longest cantaloupe vines I've ever had, and more cantaloupe. It's not that easy to grow cantaloupe in the Willamette Valley. It's just not hot enough. And I've already pulled 3 off that were on the bottom, nice, beautiful, full ones. And the plants are feet above that now. Same thing with peppers. I found that often and on tomatoes, you pull off the first fruits off the bottom so that your plant can grow. I didn't need to this year.
So, bringing that just briefly back to cannabis, do you think that opens up a lot more geography? Because I mean, you know, like Northern California, Southern Oregon is kind of the Burgundy Valley of growing weed. Do you think that opens up this territory up here into growing because of finishing faster or fungus things? Or tell me what you think about that.
Lots of cannabis can be grown all over the place because of that. I mean, there are different strains.
As far as quality, though.
Yeah, quality. Well, this makes your quality even better. It boosts resistance to so many things in so many places that yes, there's cannabis that is you can grow it everywhere.
As far as growing outdoors, what I meant with that is
it can finish faster.
Yeah, and so you
finish healthier.
It opens up the ability to grow outdoors and be just as good as you might have been.
Yeah, keep the mildew off. Rain comes early in a lot of places. How do you stay away from that? Keep your plant boosted. Keep it strong.
So, tell us about your garden. How do you what's your how do you do it as far as using these products, and which ones do you use specifically? What do you got going with different things?
Nectar, a lot of one shot. I amended this year with one shot everywhere: berries, fruit trees, bean tunnels, peas, peppers, everything that I could. I got less than a quarter acre, but close to that. Possibly 100 varieties of plants, fruiting, flowering. We have flowers again, which I had gotten rid of all my flowers for a little while because I just wanted it all to be food. One shot does wonders. It's, you know, you can put your liquid nectar on. It's fantastic to keep doing all year. Sometimes I'll boost once a week. Sometimes I'll boost twice a week, but really I'm like every once a week, every 2 weeks. But that you can really see it go in, and the plant eats it up and soaks it up with the Fullon, and it really gives it a boost. It's like bam, bam. But having the soil, having the one shot in there, I put on dry bone meal, dry fish bone meal, and it just, you know, it gets to sink in, it gets to keep going down, and you just build your soil like that. I do put leaves on, I do put some composts on. Alpaca poop is fantastic. A lot of flies, but it doesn't burn anything. So my garden, I have so many different kinds of things. You know, one shot and nectar seems to feed a whole range of different things. I don't really have to worry about, well, this needs that pH, this needs that pH. I kind of just go at it, and it all works really well. It makes it quite easy.
So,
are you finding that you're having to feed less by using Fullon?
So this year I have not fed as much as I usually do. I was gone for 3 weeks, and I definitely noticed that the plants did not get the liquid nectar and Fullon that I had been putting it on from the very beginning. In the very beginning, what I saw was, well, besides that I planted a cucumber plant from a start, not from a seed, but from a start, and in 2 weeks I had my first cucumber. That's never happened to me before. That's just fast. So everything was growing, the stalks were really growing. I'm looking at it every day thinking, is it growing, is it growing, is it growing? And the pictures, it's growing, right?
Yeah.
But really what I found is that the stems, the stalks really just boosting. It's not always that it just gets the really fast upward growth. It's kind of just like expanding outwards exponentially. It's bigger and bigger and thicker. And then fruits were coming on really quickly. Things were coming on really fast. So it's not like cannabis because tomatoes will just start coming on. And then I was gone for 3 weeks, and when I came back, everything was huge. It was massive. I was blown away by what had happened, but also I did notice that there were plants that had eaten all of the nutrients that I had put into the pots, and I put a lot in. So as I've started again to be able to put nutrients back on and put out liquid nectar and spray and put Fullon in soil, I have, for instance, cantaloupe that was just vine. All of a sudden, bang, bam, 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 3, 4, 5, 6 cantaloupe on there just in 1 day or 2 days that I noticed after spraying and putting the soil. Pepper plants are just, again, growing so fast. I definitely see when I fertilize.
So you mix one shot with the soil. What soil do you use?
Number 4.
So yeah, number 4. You're doing almost all in pots?
I've got some in the ground too.
And you mix the one shot with that, or you top dress, or what do you do?
I do both.
And then how often do you re-upping on that? The whole cycle you go through?
I've gone through twice. So one of the no-till things that I've heard about recently that people are doing is every 10 days they're taking one shot and going around the pod or going around every 10 days. They're also putting on cover crop of some clover seeds and some beans and different things, and they're also putting on barley or bokashi on top of that. So every 10 days I put nectar on, and what I've seen is that their plants don't ripen, like their cannabis didn't yellow, but they just always, and from what, people, and what I did is every 10 days I put it on. The plant is only taking what it wants to out of the soil. It's really healthy, it's really green, they're vibrant. So the Fullon just activates that. The other thing about the nectar, about One Shot and soil amendments, are that Fullon makes those things all of a sudden be active, whereas before it took a lot of time for that stuff to break down.
You're talking about a slow feed that'll last, and that's good for a lot of folks that they can have it in there, especially the people that aren't needing it to explode. But that's something that I've noticed that Fullon will yank that out of the soil.
Quickly.
Yeah, it definitely changes the feeding curve.
Oh yeah.
With like a dry or a One Shot or whatever, it's going to chew that up.
Oh yeah, you got to stay on it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and your plant's going to grow.
So similar
really
like
fast.
with a tea, doing your compost teas or something, where you start to get this action going on. They do the same thing with the Fullon. So what's your you put the Fullon every time you water, a couple times you water? Do you water every day? Just kind of what's your basic
drip line system?
On
most things, the ones that didn't have it, some things died. Strawberry wall. Yeah, drip line systems out there, and when I'm on it, I have 55-gallon tanks that for those barrels, and I mix in, and I put my newts in there, and I'll carry buckets around. And, sometimes I put it in my backpack sprayer and hit the roots.
Okay. So the just water going through drip lines.
Oh yeah.
And then you'll
I
water
with
the
my hands.
Fullon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, it's only a quarter of an acre.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite a bit. It's a lot of bucket carrying.
I can imagine. That's why you
Come join me sometime.
come over there anytime.
We're gonna be there later
Those
today.
blackberries, oh my God, they were delicious.
Today we'll pick
They're like they're not like baseballs.
They're big.
They're like,
Golf balls.
Yeah.
they're almost a golf ball.
Yeah,
And they're sweet.
And
delicious.
thornless plants. They're Chester berries. So around town, I had never seen. You hear about Marionberries. That's like if you're not from here, haven't been here, and you hear about Marionberries. Then you get here, and there's 3, 4, 5 kinds of thornless blackberries that are easy to grow here. The thing is, there's so many thorned blackberries. Who wants to grow more blackberries? Because they all take over. But the Chester berries are out of this world. They are very prolific. This year, it's been even more so, I think, than normal. But I was really going at the nectar and the Fullon, and I wanted to see what would happen. Yeah, the berries are huge.
So are you using any liquid nectar?
Oh yeah.
So you do a little bit of that too?
I love the liquid nectar. Oh yeah, I do a lot of liquid nectar.
Okay.
As much as I can. I mean, things, life, the yard, indoors, outdoors, But
So, either one of you, cannabis. What kind of regimen would you recommend for growing cannabis? If you're going like using nectar, these sorts of things, how often, what would you do? What other things might you use besides these?
In terms of the Fullon, we just say incorporate it with your regular feeding schedules. Basically, at least feed once a week, preferably twice a week, once every 4 days. Or if you're feeding daily, put like 2 ml in your reservoir. But it's easy for, I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody you got to do it this. It's easy to accommodate with whatever type of feeding you're doing, whether you've got a 1,000-gallon reservoir or whether you're just hand watering. Like I say, the main thing is that if you do get into a regular usage regimen, once or twice a week in the roots and once a week as a foliar, you'll definitely see something that you haven't expected to see before. And to me, that's kind of the key in the whole product deal, to see things that are unexpected, to see things that you didn't experience the last grow, whether it's a speed factor, I'm moving through this 2 weeks quicker than I did before, whether it's more weight, whether it's more height, whether it's more flower sets, whatever it is, you can definitely see a change in whatever type of plant from a regular regimen.
Why do you think it's going faster?
I think actually what it's helping the plant do, number one, is uptake everything in the root zone much more efficiently. So number one, the plant doesn't have to basically work as hard to break down those nutrients to get it into new cell growth. It's happening that much quicker because of the nanoform. The other thing that's going on is we've got a lot of different minerals and vitals and all these little elements that the plants need to make those new cell growth conversions happen. So we're giving the plant a lot of little elements and things that aren't available anywhere else. Stuff that's been gone out of our topsoil for 150 years now. So there's all these little, particles that the plant's getting, and it's able to use in the right proportions at the right time, which helps everything move along faster. And
I'd like to say, yeah.
You came out and sprayed one of our plants.
right.
And it's so much better than the other plants.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, we've added that to our foliar feed.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate that.
So do you think that maybe you're not speeding it up so much as it's just been kind of slowing down over time because of our soil?
That's a good point. Two ways to look at it. Are the plants growing at a certain rate because they haven't been given absolutely everything they need to move along at their best potential? It's a good point. I don't know the answer. I do know that we don't make this up. This is not a claim that we sat back and how can we sell stuff. It's basically person after person, grower, everybody from all over the country saying consistently the same things, faster and better at the end. So,
well, it's we do have people that are questioning it, but I was talking to you earlier about I got out of the car the other day and thought something was coming to get me, and it was a pepper plant that just shot up just in a couple of days.
And I just boosted. I didn't hit it.
Boosted, and it looked like it was coming to get me.
Yeah.
When I got out of the car.
Oh no, I appreciate it, and it's one of those. Frankly, when somebody hears something like that here, take this bottle. You're going to be, what I mean? We're going to cut a couple of weeks off. I mean, they look at you
like you're crazy.
Like snake oil. You know what I mean? Get out of here, man. But it's not. The nice thing with a foliar spray, you can see results in a couple hours. So you can begin to see that plant respond, and it's not a cheap urea or a cheap iron trick. The plant's actually producing more chlorophylls, more sugars, the whole 9 yards. And the speed and the time thing, it's none but customer feedback. And it's one of those situations that, we need to tell people that because that's one of the main benefits of the product, regardless if you sound like a used car salesman. And we tell people, just let the plants decide. Put it on your plants, regardless of what they are, and they'll let you know.
Were you surprised about it being faster?
Totally.
Really?
Two things that came as a big surprise. Number one, the first thing came back, I would say, would be the genetic expression. We had a fellow that was growing in British Columbia, maybe 10 or 11 years ago. And he came back and said that the flavors of his cuts were different than the other growers were.
Oh, really?
And he said, I don't know what this is doing, but he said, my customers are coming back and saying, this is completely different than the guy down there. And we both started with the same plant. And like I say, this is six years ago, something like that. And so that was kind of the first thing that we started to get consistent feedback on. The flavors were better. The colors were more intense. The aromas were more. And we've always heard a little bit about the speed, but as we've gotten more commercial growers online,
they care more about that or notice that.
They're dialed in.
They're tracking it closer.
These guys know they're running the same. They've been running the same strains for a matter of years for some of them, and they can tell you to the day what's going to happen. They're dialed in. And when these guys started to come back and go, "What the hell's going on?" I've run this for 4 years. At this many weeks, I'm finishing 2 weeks quicker now. This doesn't make sense. Same environment, same soil, same nutrients, same cuts, same everything. And basically, we heard enough of that from enough different sources that the one consistent in the whole equation was the Fullon. And so we continue to hear it today. We hear it more perhaps because we bring it. It's one of the things, the biggest benefits of the product is you're going to be able to move through whatever grow process it is for whatever plant more efficiently, quicker, and with better results. So no, like I say, the whole thing has been a continuous surprise, one thing after the other. It wasn't, a lot of these things we didn't set out to say, how can we advance the growth, actual growth rates, and then increase the genetic development and genetic expression of plants.
What were you shooting for?
I was just trying to get do more with less nutrients and really see a healthy, vigorous expression in the plants. But what I was looking for and what we got were a little bit different.
So you tweaking this all the time?
Nope. Once I think it was 7th or 8th, whatever it was. Once we got to this point, that's done. We're already seeing things that we didn't expect. Let's just leave it. Don't mess up.
Growers are notorious for changing things up and always looking for another thing and tweaking it, and it's gotten me in trouble.
I've noticed with a lot of people, it seems like your first grow goes really well, and the second and third ones don't go so well because you think you're doing maybe trying to improve.
Very common.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Fullon is kind of like, you're a plant, and imagine a plant's a plunger, sort of. It's got transpiration rate, and it's going to start, sucking stuff, and it's like, well, just make your plunger like how many times bigger, it's like, your cells are stronger, they're bigger, everything, the exponential growth, everything is bigger and better about it with Fullon. So you really get to give the plant, it gets colors, it gets flavors, everything that you can imagine, stuff you can't imagine. With tomatoes, the colors are fantastic. The reds are redder, there's red, purple. The flavors are not just sweet, all kinds of profiles are coming out from the tomatoes this year and the peppers it's just different, it's better.
So any downside, any stuff people do make mistakes that can be a problem with your product?
The one issue we've had is if people are running synthetic NPKs, and what we say when you initially put Fullon in the root zone, cut half your NPKs, cut them in half. And when people don't do that, they kind of blow it off like it's just a marketing claim or whatever. You can burn. You can basically burn the hell out of them. Because the Fullon is catalyzing and transporting everything at the root zone that was basically unavailable to the plant in synthetic form. So the Fullon hits it, it can,
How would I see that manifest?
You're going to burn. You're going to fry the plant and basically just get fried. Nitrogen burn.
So you cut back to half and then you slowly work your way back up to where it was comfortable, or what would you do?
Yeah, I mean,
you may not need to.
You may not need to. There's some synthetic newts, some of the powdered ones. Guys are running close to 100%. Maybe they're not running 18 products, but they are running pretty much close to full strength. There's some other nutrients. I know people have to stay at 50%. They go above that, they'll burn. So, and it's also a lot depends on genetics. Is a plant, or do you have a bunch of heavy feeders, or are they a little bit, more sensitive? So everything's independent, but what we do want to do is make sure that people maximize that plant growth. And to that degree, it's a great question. We say on synthetics, go back 50% when you start, and then ratchet up till you're getting the growth you want. I would always try to go for tip burn and then ratchet back a little bit. And you're going to be about at the maximum that plant can handle. As far as nectar, we said, I think Scott was the one that basically recommended a 20% initial cutback,
reduction.
just initially, to make sure that we don't overexcite anything in the soil that may burn, and then go back up to full strength. I think most of the nectar fab are running full strength.
Just getting
with
more
Fullon. Yeah, what you're doing, you're just taking whatever was in the root zone that the plant wasn't able to uptake and
so there may have been some residual stuff down there. You don't want to just throw that through the plant.
Exactly.
But once you get on a program, it's going to be okay.
Exactly. Okay. So you're going to, like I said, you're not going to cut back so much in most cases, but you're going to take what you would have cut back and you're going to turn it into more growth, more weight, and get there quicker.
I will say that I think being careful not to overload your plants with dry nutrients, because dry nutrients can heat up your soils, burn things, and then you put a plant in right away. And Fullon, by making it all active so quickly, Some pots I actually did take and I put the Fullon in, and before I put a plant in, because I wanted that stuff active and to start getting used just in itself. But I did notice I had a little tiny bit of burn on a couple of plants. They were so loaded that what I found was they were the ones that I had way too much one-shot possibly in for what a plant can uptake in a small amount of time.
So you're somewhat defeating the time release of it. You're getting, instead of getting it over 90 days, you're getting
it happened really quick. It did actually break down over quite, a month, 2 months time, and it's done really well. But I had, the next day, I mean, it literally was like, oh my gosh, it's a plant. And this was right when I was just starting to use it, and then the growth just, so. But I amended really heavy.
So maybe more of a, you be the time release by putting a little bit instead of dumping it all on there.
Yeah, I put in 6 cups or so, one shot in a 40-gallon pot or a 25, and I think in a 25-gallon pot. I mistook it for the 45-gallon. Plus 6 cups of bone meal and 6 cups of fish bone, and that's.
You think that fish bone and bone meal breaking down from the Fullon?
Oh yeah, I think everything does, because what I've noticed is that plants need more fertilizer way sooner than they used to, and they grew a lot faster. A lot faster. Nice. I've had growth I'd never seen before, and I usually grow 12 to 14 foot tall tomato plants, and again, fast.
Now that it's getting to be flower season, do I need to stop using that as a foliage spray?
I would say most people stop about 2 to 3 weeks into foliar, but you definitely want to get it into the soil all the way through flush, and that will really kick up the flower production, flower weights, and the terpene production. It's going to get the bricks going along with that. Everything that we're trying to get out of the flowers is going to increase as well. So once to twice a week in the soil, and you'll definitely see the difference in your flowers.
And if I can say from what I found from spraying on a cantaloupe, I've got cantaloupe down here, saw all this stuff going on. I came back 3 weeks later, sprayed it on. It's like bam, 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 more cantaloupe just from spraying on, just watering down into the soil. The density of my flowers too in cannabis have just way more dense than it used to be, and it just is.
Yeah, it just seems to get everything into that high gear production mode. You know what I mean? Quick, yeah. Exactly.
Doesn't take much time. It's very quick, and it's really easy to see on a vegetable that's fruiting. They'll put out fruit, bam, just like very quickly. Cannabis takes its time over months, but you can have a pepper be put off really fast. A cantaloupe, all kinds of things. Just there it is.
Yeah. Good, because my corn really needs some help.
Yes.
The cannabis is okay, but the corn is not good.
Oh no, we've got our buddy Clearhead Fred in Michigan. He sends us his corn. It's grown with Fullon.
Okay.
So, yeah. Supposedly the sweetest around, but we'll see.
So you got into this because Big Ag freaked you out. You didn't like what they were doing, and you see it getting better.
To a degree, I think within the cannabis community, I think there's a lot more awareness in general of what's going on in the environment and our communities with our bodies and stuff like that. I spent 4 years back in Michigan, and there's parts of the country where people just predominantly don't seem to really care or give a damn. And so, I mean, everywhere around me, every single field had a sign in it that was, it was treated with glyphosate. And so,
which is horrible.
Which is horrible. I mean, it's carcinogen, it's in the water tables. I mean, you just can't put that down year after year after year at the rates that the government subsidizes these guys to do it without having it have a cumulative effect. So, I certainly think that there's areas of the country and certain people within different groups, like I say, the cannabis community, we tend to be a little more aware of what's going on. And I think to the degree we vote with our dollar, we can change things. You just don't buy that junk. You don't give these creeps our money, and it's going to have an effect. So I'd like to think the awareness is going to continue to spread, and you know what I mean? We'll start to
maybe a ripple effect off of the cannabis community, just by virtue of all the testing that we have to go through in the community, and people becoming aware of, these things are not allowed on cannabis, but they are allowed on their food.
Exactly.
tool, maybe we should look at that again,
Yeah.
reassess.
Yeah, because it's, I just read, there was just an article, I think this past week, on, for the first time, I think, ever, mortality rates in the United States started to reverse. And as it turns out, that makes corporations billions of dollars. You gotta think about that. That for the first time, Americans are living less years.
And there's money to be made in that.
And there's money
Because we want to live longer.
there's money to make. Well, not only that, but the trusts and all these, whatever all the financial deals is. If we die sooner, it costs. You know what I mean?
Well, that bottom line was actuarial tables.
Yep, exactly. So, no, you got to sit back and kind of shake your head and wonder what the hell's going on.
So what do you think we can do? How can we help?
I think we need to just vote with our dollar. You know what I mean? Look for organics, support organic farmers, support local farmers, and try to just be conscientious about our choices in life. It's all we really can do at the end of the day. Is just keep our eyes open and know where the money goes.
It's hard to step out of the system.
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard to stop using things that come from places that we don't like. Our tails are very long. We don't all notice, and we don't know where our tail fully extends.
Well, you were talking about the different areas of the country that have the signs up about these toxins. And if you ask somebody, they do know this is a toxin that's being sprayed in this field, but it's all they know, and it's like, well, that's the way we've always done.
Oh, totally. And there's, in all fairness, the big ag and big pharma guys, they control the media. They basically control all the ag schools. And so for generations now, the agriculture in this country has pretty much been a mindset of we have to use pesticides, we have to use chemical fertilizers. That started after World War II because we had all these excess nitrates. So at this point, we've killed so much of the soil in this country that it takes a hell of a lot to revert that back to where it can actually be productive again. So it's pretty much just accepted that I don't know if these guys really think out that we've completely ruined our land, we're poisoning our water tables, we're all getting cancer from this shit. I don't think a lot of them played it out. It's basically a necessity now. Mm-hmm. The government subsidizes the lowest value crops on the planet, and they subsidize it with GMO seeds and glyphosate and all sorts of horrific chemicals. That's our tax dollars at work. So, a lot of it is just, vote with your dollar, I think, and putting money into that system. So.
Really depressing. Thanks a lot. You think we'll get there?
I think we will. I think there's an awareness in this country, and perhaps all the insanity that we see, being played out on the television and the news is really increasing the awareness with a lot of people going, this is really not the direction that we want to go.
I feel very aware.
We think this is bullshit, and maybe it's time to start doing something about it, other than hitting a goddamn send button on the computer. So, I think everything happens for a reason, and I think I see a lot of hope and a lot of awareness in our community. And just personally, I see more on the West Coast, to tell you the truth, and the East Coast. There's a lot of awareness as well.
It's just over there. That's actually organic stores and places I never expected they'd be, and communities of people just like us.
Yeah.
And we're not there when I left 23 years ago.
Yeah. So, and tell you the truth, I think the spread of cannabis is really kind of helping that. It's kind of a harbinger of waking people up. And in my opinion, that was the whole reason for the war on cannabis to begin with, and why Nixon really freaked out on it. It wasn't because of the money, it wasn't because of anything else, other than people that got high would sit back and go, these people aren't lying to us, they're just a bunch of